Welcome back to Turning Point Tuesday on SecretSpool. I'm Nina, and tonight's story is about two turning points colliding at once. The moment life nearly took everything from a couple, and the moment they realized the people who should have stood beside them were nowhere to be found. It's a story about survival, betrayal, and the quiet decision to finally choose peace over dysfunction. It started with a smell, the kind you can't quite name. Our rental always ran a little damp, and at first I chalked it up to a humid season. My partner joked that the place had old house lungs, and we bought some dehumidifiers, lit a few candles, and tried to ignore the musty undertone that clung to everything. Then he started coughing. At first, it was just in the mornings, a rough, scratchy kind of cough that we blamed on allergies or dust. But it got worse, lingering through the day, showing up at night, leaving him rubbing his chest like he could massage the tightness away. He'd never had asthma, never had breathing issues, but suddenly he was pausing halfway up the stairs to catch his breath. The night he collapsed is burned into my memory. 1 second, he was standing at the sink, laughing softly about something on his phone, and the next, he was on the floor, his body limp, his face pale in a way I'd never seen. I remember my hands fumbling with my phone, calling an ambulance, trying to keep my voice steady while every part of me screamed that this wasn't normal, that something was very, very wrong. At the hospital, they stabilized him, ran tests, and finally, one of the doctors mentioned the possibility of environmental exposure, specifically mold. She asked about our home, about any damp rooms or water damage, about odd smells or symptoms that had snuck up over time. As she talked, puzzle pieces began to click into place in a way that made my stomach drop. We went back to the rental with new eyes and new fear. I reported everything to the property manager, and they sent out an inspector who took a quick look around, poked a few surfaces, and confidently announced there was no major issue. The report they sent afterward made it sound like we were just overreacting to normal wear and tear in an older building. Meanwhile, my partner was wheezing in his sleep. I wasn't satisfied, so I hired an independent inspector out of pocket. This one took his time, using moisture meters and cutting small sections into the walls and ceilings in key areas. When he pulled back a piece of plaster and I saw the dark streaks and patches spreading like ink through the structure, my knees almost buckled. Hidden black mold, deep in the bones of the house we'd been calling home. After that, everything turned into a blur of survival. My partner's breathing worsened, and he developed severe asthma practically overnight. I ended up in the hospital myself with breathing problems and hypoxia, my oxygen levels low enough to scare the nurses. We didn't feel like tenants anymore. We felt like collateral damage. I was juggling full-time work, doctor appointments, legal advice, and inspectors while trying to keep us both afloat. The landlord fought back. They hired their own experts who tried to say there was nothing seriously wrong, that it was all under control. I gathered every photo, every medical report, every piece of written evidence I could find, and brought it to a housing tribunal. When the tribunal finally ruled in our favor and awarded us $10,000, it should have felt like vindication. The decision spelled out everything we knew in our bones. The mold was real, the danger was real, and the landlord had tried to minimize it. But by then, I was so drained I could hardly feel relief. I'd spent months in what I can only describe as caveman mode. Pure fight or flight, zero processing, just white-knuckle survival. Instead, my sister and her husband decided the real problem wasn't the mold or the hospital stays. It was me. They started telling people I'd lost it, that I was making my partner crazy with my stress. When I tried to explain what was happening, they rolled their eyes. When I sent them photos and medical summaries, they brushed it off with comments like, "You're overreacting," and "It can't be that bad." My brother-in-law had always had a habit of saying tone-deaf things, crude jokes at the wrong times, comments that made people uncomfortable. And my sister's response was always the same. "He's just joking. Don't be so serious." During the worst months, when my partner was collapsing and I was barely functioning, they didn't visit. They didn't call. There were no, "How are you holding up?" messages, no offers to help with groceries or rides or anything. The only things they seemed to find energy for were judgment and gossip. I later found out they'd been feeding their version of events to my parents, painting me as unstable, dramatic, and impossible to reason with. The breaking point came on a day that should have felt like a step forward. We had just received confirmation that we could move out, start fresh, somewhere clean, somewhere safe. I was exhausted but hopeful. Then my sister sent a message accusing me of ruining the family atmosphere and demanding that I stop making a scene. Something in me finally snapped. I wrote back, calmly but firmly, explaining exactly what we'd gone through. How many ambulances had been called, how many times my partner had passed out, how I'd ended up in the hospital too. I told her that dismissing our experience and calling me crazy was cruel, and that I would no longer tolerate being treated like a problem she could roll her eyes at. I thought maybe she'd pause and reflect. Instead, she twisted my words and claimed I was threatening her husband. After that, I did something I'd never done in my entire life. I blocked them both. I stepped out of the family group chat. I stopped responding to their messages. For the first time, I chose to protect my own mental and emotional health over keeping the peace at any cost. My partner and I moved out, started detoxing from the old place, and slowly our bodies began to remember what it felt like to be well. Just as our lungs started to clear, the emotional pressure kicked in from another direction. My mom and my grandma, who had just flown in from overseas, sat me down and told me I needed to fix things. They said if I really loved them, I would make amends, reach out, and smooth it over. They reminded me I was missing out on watching my niece grow up. They said I'd changed, and they didn't mean it as a compliment. Listening to them, something inside me settled instead of shattering. For years, "You've changed" would have made me doubt myself, rush to apologize, try to prove I wasn't difficult or ungrateful. But this time, I realized they were right. I had changed. Surviving a medical crisis and being abandoned in the middle of it had redrawn the lines of what I would accept. I didn't want to go back to the version of myself who tolerated disrespect just to keep everyone else comfortable. That was the real turning point for me. Not the tribunal win, not the move, not even the hospital discharges. It was the quiet realization that family isn't defined by shared DNA or shared last names. It's defined by who shows up when everything is falling apart. It's defined by who believes you when you say, "I am not okay," and who makes it about their discomfort instead. I decided I was willing to forgive someday, but only if real accountability came first. No more excuses. No more, "You're too sensitive." No more pretending nothing happened. Until then, the boundary stays where it is. I can love my family without sacrificing myself on the altar of their denial. The year that nearly broke us also rebuilt us. My partner and I are closer, more honest, and more intentional than we've ever been. We pay attention to our bodies, our environment, and our emotional safety. We've learned that sometimes the bravest thing you can do isn't fighting a visible enemy. It's refusing to keep playing the invisible role you were assigned in someone else's story. Thank you for spending this Turning Point Tuesday with me. I'm Nina, and tonight's story is a reminder that sometimes the turning point isn't just surviving the crisis, it's deciding the person you became afterward deserves better. If this resonated with you, hit like, subscribe to SecretSpool, and share your own turning point in the comments below. I'll see you next Tuesday.